Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa. I've been at Crum and Forster Insurance for 10 years. I work in the Special Investigations Unit as an investigator. I love what I do. I actually started there in 2017, and I love investigating social media and all that. It's really fun. So I'm really blessed to be here. I actually came down to the Sands OSINT in 2020, and even though I was investigating social media at the time, this really sparked my love for OSINT. And the OSINT millennial name just kind of someone gave it to me one day. It stuck. I ran with it. It's my Twitter username, my Instagram username, and if you find me on LinkedIn as well. Um, so yeah, a little bit about me. So I'm actually on my second master's degree right now through Arizona State University. My first one is criminal justice, and my second one that I'm working on now is social data science. So what I do at Crum and Forster, I investigate insurance fraud, potential insurance fraud. We want to combat it, all this white collar crime stuff. So we go and we put together investigative reports, and we give them to various parts of my company. And we just kind of help out Crum and Forster however we can. I also, another part, I love giving presentations. I usually give them to other investigators, maybe arson investigators, uh, other insurance fraud investigators, and just anyone that's really starting to get involved in this field. So this is really exciting because there's so many diverse people here. So I'm hoping that everyone takes away something here. And another really cool part about me, my favorite part of my life, is I'm a really big ball hockey player. I'm part of the National Ball Hockey League. I've been playing for a few years. One of the perks and why this is relevant, not only do I play, I also help with a lot of their social media. Maybe I'll run some of their pages, or I understand a lot of the content that's posted there. And one thing for me, in order to investigate social media, I feel like you need to understand how it works from the user standpoint, whether it's using your own profile or whether you're using a page or a group. If you really understand how it works from the user standpoint, I feel like you can be so much better as an investigator. And so that's get your screen time up for sure, because it'll help you in the long run. So that's a little bit about me and my background. Everything that I'm telling you today does not constitute legal advice. I am not a lawyer. I do have a certified insurance fraud investigator designation that I obtained, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, everything that I do, we don't friend people, we don't follow people. Everything is publicly accessible, as with the entire world of OSINT. So yeah, make sure that you follow whatever your company guidelines are. I know, especially in the insurance world, every insurance company does something different. So I'm just kind of here just to provide some, basic outlines, basic, kind of what I do and what I've seen. A lot of what you're going to see in my presentation is my own personal social media because I don't feel comfortable putting, someone else, maybe a claimant or a business out there that I don't work with. But do know that anything that I'm putting out on these screens is something indicative of what I've seen throughout my investigations over the past few years. So with that being said, I remember one of the very first presentations I attended as an investigative analyst at Crum and Forster. And one of the things that we did was, before I got involved in the unit, everyone was only using their desktop. And my desktop setup is great. I love it. I love the two big screens and having the keyboard, mouse. You feel very traditional. However, no one had any mobile devices. And one of the biggest things when it comes to social media is people are using their mobile devices, they're using their phones, they're using their iPads. That's how they're accessing, that's how they're posting their Facebook statuses, they're posting their tweets that way, that's how they're filming their TikToks. So if you're using just a desktop to go ahead, or just a laptop just to go ahead and search, you could potentially miss on so much because the platforms look so different compared to desktop compared to mobile. So definitely make sure to get yourself a mobile device. I actually have an iPad. I only use it for investigations. And one of the big things that I do with my mobile device, my iPad, is contact syncing. And that's a huge piece into some of the things that I'll show you. And what I mean by contact syncing is literally taking a phone number, because sometimes when you start an investigation, maybe all you have is a phone number and email address. So I add it to my contact book. Maybe I'll put like the first letter of my subject of my investigation. I'll put that, and then I'll save it. And that's a way that you can go ahead and back into some potential social media platforms. So I'm going to start with probably a non-traditional social media platform, but I think it's one that everyone should be familiar with and everyone should definitely use in their investigations. So Venmo. Venmo's been around for not too long. I want to say, like, I signed up for it in 2017, and people are like, "Oh, Venmo is just a financial thing. You just send money." No, Venmo is a it's a social media platform. People go ahead and they connect with their friends. There's a like platform. You can like, you can comment. There's a lot of things that you could do with Venmo. Now, Venmo has a contact syncing feature, but if you sync your contacts, you're adding them as your friends. So you do want to be careful with that. I know a lot of people on Venmo, they sync their contacts a long time ago. Like for me, it pulled from Facebook, and I know a lot of people have that, or it came from their contacts as well. Now, usually what I'll do is I'll search for my potential subjects because people on Venmo generally are using their first and last name. They're not really using an alias because people want to get paid, they want to get found on there. You can also find, certain businesses and stuff, but people love to put their Venmos, in their profiles if they're getting paid somehow. One thing when it comes to Venmo usernames, they're not traditional like with a Instagram username or Snapchat or anything like that. What you're gonna see a lot of times, you'll see dashes. You may see Melissa Dash Jones. And that's if you don't go ahead and manually change your username, that's the username that Venmo assigned to you. And just know that, sometimes people just stick with that. They don't go ahead, and I see it all the time. People don't actually go and change their Venmo usernames. So it's something to be mindful of because if you look at a lot of other platforms, the underscore is huge. People use the underscore a lot, but people don't really use dashes. So Venmo is one of those that people do. So yeah, this is kind of what Venmo looks like when you access it from a mobile device. I know you can access it on desktop, but you have to sign in every time, and it's a pain. So I definitely prefer desktop for this. You can go ahead and hit the search button and search for whoever you're looking for. I'll generally either look for a person's first and last name, or maybe their family member or friend that has a more unique name. And sometimes I'll pull up my Venmo here. Um, I've had a lot more transactions since 2019, but for some reason, if you pull up my Venmo, everything from 2019 and prior is public. And because that's how Venmo kind of was. Venmo went through a lot of chaos because when you sign up, everything is public, everything, your friends, you can't necessarily see how much has been paid, but it's one of those, social media platforms that's gone through a lot. And I just think it's interesting that even though if you go ahead and sometimes change it to friends only or private, sometimes there will be transactions that are left public. So I think Venmo is definitely something you always want to check out. You have to put a caption in. I know some people will just put like a period or just anything simple, but a lot of people have fun with it. They'll be descriptive. I can't even tell you the amount of things that I've seen that people put in their Venmo descriptions. And another thing too, if people are Venmoing each other and they're Venmoing them quite often, check out those connections on other social media platforms. Check out they are probably connected to each other on Instagram, on Facebook, if they're Venmoing each other a lot because they're probably hanging out. You go out to eat with all your friends, someone puts the bill down. Oh, I'll put my card down. Can everybody Venmo me? It's a very common thing. So that's kind of with Venmo. Now the friends list very recently, you have the option now to make it go from completely public to completely private. And this is a more recent feature. So I have a screenshot from what mine used to look like, and then now when to change it to private. But it's interesting because you can actually look at the profile, and even if someone has their username or has their friends list private, it'll still say how many friends they have. So it tricks you. You click on it, and then it says blank. It says, "Oh, you don't have any friends," but it's kind of playing mind games with you. So Venmo is just really important, and I wanted to share a tweet. This is not me, but I feel like this girl and I would be best friends because she found someone. The Bachelor is a really popular show where one guy is, a bunch of girls are vying for one guy's heart and they're trying to win. So this girl was very creative, found the current Bachelor at the time on Venmo, went through his friends, and was able to figure out who won because she was friends with him. So even celebrities or minor celebrities are on there as well. Definitely just don't discount Venmo. I'm telling you, there are gems on there, and there's so much, and people don't think to, hide on it. So definitely want to share that. Speaking of financial apps, I just want to cover Cash App really quick because it's such a it's also one of those that gets discounted pretty quickly. It's one that I'll check pretty frequently because, oftentimes we just get a phone number. So if you open up the Cash app on your phone and you go ahead and you can just search for a phone number, if there's a profile that's connected to it, it'll pop right up. And sometimes you'll get a username, and sometimes you'll get just a, hey, there is no profile, there's some information. But honestly, so sometimes you'll just get a username and a picture. And I think that information, even just that is definitely helpful because as we know, and something I'll cover in a little bit, how valuable usernames can be. And think about this too, if people are on other social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, all that, they're potentially looking for, someone to pay them for something, they'll post, hey, here's my Cash App. Cash App starts all their usernames with the money symbol. So one thing to be mindful of, different social media platforms have, like TikTok will start with the @ symbol, LinkedIn starts with the IN. I think Venmo starts with a U/Venmo. So all these different platforms, if you're looking at them from mobile devices to desktop, their URL is different and the makeup of the handle is different. So just one thing, definitely check out Cash App as well because, sometimes you just have a phone number and this can definitely help. Now, another really great mobile device social media app is Snapchat. And it's another one that I just want people to start utilizing more because people are like, oh, Snapchat, like that's for kids. All they're doing is sending pictures back and forth. That's not the case. Snapchat has been around since 2011 and it has grown and it has been so amazing, the capabilities of it. So first, I just want to share all the different, what the Snapchat app actually looks like, because there's a lot when you open the app. There's a lot that's there, and maybe as an investigator, like this is my personal page, so there's a lot on there. I'm connected to my friends, but maybe you just have a blank page if you're using it for investigations. So when you open up the app, you'll first get a camera, and I've noticed sometimes I've downloaded like emulators and stuff to try and use mobile devices. I noticed sometimes that this will crash the emulator because you might not have access to a camera. So it's really important sometimes to maybe consider, a different mobile device rather than an emulator. That's why I think the iPad's just the way to go. Granted, I am a Google person. I'm an Android person, but iPad works because it's simple. But yeah, when you open up Snapchat, you get the camera option. If you move over, you get the chat option there. You get everyone that you're connected to. Now, one thing people are doing, they're not just texting and phone calling through like their mobile carrier. People are having full-on conversations, full-on video calls through all these apps, and Snapchat is a really, really great app for that. So people are doing it all the time. You can have full-on conversations. I know sometimes I'll have conversations with people. We'll send pictures back and forth. We'll send texts, and then we'll also send text via Snapchat at the same time. So it's, multitasking. Another really unique feature of Snapchat is all the way on the left there, the Snap Maps. There used to be a really cool web feature with this as well, but they don't have it up anymore. But I feel like it's going to come back around because one thing with Snapchat is they're starting to push a lot of web services again. And I find that so interesting. Like they're trying to push a desktop version. You can go ahead and sign on desktop. So just something to be mindful of. Snap Maps is a little bit crazy because if you go ahead and elect to, you can appear on this map with all your friends that you've chosen to connect with, or you can appear to everybody that's on your friends list. You can be selective about it or not. You can also post things to the public Snap Maps. So where you see like different colors on the map there, that means someone posted something publicly. So if you are investigating an event or you're investigating someone, and you know the location, you can go ahead and zoom pretty closely into that map. And if there's, the discoloration of that shows that there's stuff posted there, definitely click on it because you never know what could be posted there and if it's relevant to you. Another part of Snapchat, there's another section with stories and advertisements and stuff. And then, interestingly enough, I don't know if people know this, but just like how TikTok and Instagram have reels and just TikToks and videos, there's also all the short videos, which are some of them are recycled from TikTok and reels, but it's there and people are posting it. So just, that's kind of how the Snapchat app works in general. Now, in the top left corner, you probably won't be able to see it too well, but there's a little Bitmoji there. There's a little circle, and it's my face. If you click on that, this is how you sync contacts. And remember, this is what I was talking about before. Snapchat is so quick with this, and I love it because you enter a phone number and email address into the iPad, and immediately, whether or not someone has a Snapchat account, it'll pop up right away. So once you click on that little piece that was I just showed you there, you'll pull up your profile here, and this is what it looks like. If you have a story that's maybe posted at the time, if you have different features, they're really trying to push the Snapchat Plus. It opens up a whole bunch of other different things, but it's something you got to pay for. But if you scroll down a little bit and you get to the Add Friends section, first it'll get to that middle section there where it'll have the quick add, which is trying to like, hey, we think you're going to want to connect with these people. Anyone that may have added you on Snapchat will be there. But what I want you to focus on is if you click on that all contacts section, anyone that's already on Snapchat that has a profile that's connected to that phone number that's in your address book will appear there. And I know I have them grayed out, but this is where you can find usernames for people. And one thing that's really interesting with Snapchat, so for years, remember I said Snapchat existed, it started in 2011. Not until 2022 were you able to change your Snapchat username. And if you change it, you have to wait an entire year to change it again. So I remember at first when they went and changed the username, when they allowed you to change your username, at first I was like, oh no, because people were tied into these Snapchat names for years. You created something in middle school or high school and you're tied to it as an adult. And it was just something interesting because you knew it was, maybe a little bit more legit. However, now people are changing their Snapchat usernames to maybe be more reflective to what they have on Instagram or TikTok. So I think it's a good thing overall that people are changing that because your username, people are very loyal to that. So you can go ahead and take a phone number, sync it to the contact list, open up Snapchat, and you could potentially open so many other doors just by doing that. Another thing that I want to talk about with Snapchat is their public profiles. Now, if you have a Snapchat username and you go ahead and type it into that link, you might get two different ways to see this on desktop. You'll either get maybe like a pretty blank profile, like mine's actually fairly blank. It has a Bitmoji, which is that little character there. I think it looks kind of like me. I told you I'm a hockey fan, I'm a Devils fan. And if you get something like that, go to Devils Twitter, you can go ahead and look through the followers. Side note. But regardless, a lot of people do create their little cartoon version, their Bitmoji of themselves. And sometimes that can be helpful for when you're trying to find what they look like in other social media websites. However, the big thing, Snapchat is really trying to push people to post on their public profile. And I know I have a business, I know I have the NHL up there, I know I have that posted. But the amount of times that I've seen stuff like that on like personal users and personal profiles, I've seen people post videos at work, goofing off at work. And I think it's so interesting that that's there and they're willing to post it. And you don't even have to have an account to actually view that. So just the Snapchat public profiles are so important. The importance of usernames. So once you get a username from Snapchat, there's a lot of different avenues that you can go. And one of my favorites from the OSINT Combine is what's my name.app. If you guys aren't using this, this is an incredible tool. Once you get a username, you can go ahead and drop it in there. You can actually search multiple usernames at once now. And it'll go ahead and it searches a variety of different social media platforms. Every day is different. Every day is different whether it'll hit or not. But it's just a nice, helpful tool to go ahead and once you get a username from potentially Snapchat, drop it in there. However, sometimes tools aren't always the best way, and sometimes you got to use your brain and little tricks and use different web searching platforms like Google, Yandex, Bing, and search different ways. Drop a username and search different ways that way. So my username, OSINT Millennial, you'll get different results searching all three of those. So the first one right there, OSINT Millennial, a lot of times if you drop it in with nothing, it'll break it up into two different pieces. So you'll get things with OSINT, things with Millennial, and I'm like, oh, I'm just curious about my username. Sometimes you'll get different results when you put an @ symbol, because think about it, a lot of social media platforms use the @ symbol. So maybe you'll get different comments where something's tagged. Or my favorite, I put quotations around everything. Every search that I do, like 99.9% of the time I use quotation marks. And when you do that, you're telling Google or whatever search that you only want that specific information. So this is really helpful for usernames, but also really helpful for searching in general. While we're talking about Google, I just wanted to highlight the EPOS tool that I use. I use their free version. I know they're out there, and they're incredible because they've built this tool that if you have a Gmail account or anything like that, you drop it in and you can get a wealth of information. And another, what I consider a social media website, if you have Google Maps. So sometimes you drop a email address in there. You'll get a wealth of information. If you click on the Google Maps profile, you might get reviews, you might get pictures. As an insurance fraud investigator, this has been so helpful because people are reviewing their doctors, people are reviewing their lawyers, they're reviewing their businesses. They're saying, hey, like I went skiing at this resort here, and they're leaving reviews that may or may not indicate what they're doing. So just kind of, definitely one thing when you get, another Google tool that's super helpful. I consider Google Maps a great social media platform as well. Jumping to TikTok. I spend a lot of time on TikTok. TikTok is fun. When you open up TikTok, you'll get the For You page, which TikTok is telling you, hey, this is based on what you watch, based on what you comment on, based on what you like and share with people. This is what I think that you want to watch. So for some reason, TikTok thought that I wanted to watch a lot of pickleball stuff, but it's fine. Or you can get your following page. So when the people that you go ahead and select to follow, you'll get videos from them. So like a typical social media site. And so one thing that I want to share with you, same thing as Snapchat. If you open up TikTok and you go down to your profile, which is in the bottom right, you'll get the contact syncing method or the current contact syncing method because this changes all the time. So I had to check this right before I left for here. And so you get your profile, and right where that little person with the plus sign is, if you select that, you'll get the next menu where it says Find Contacts. And same thing, this is what it currently looks like right now. Anyone that is in your contact list that has a phone number, that has a TikTok account linked to it, will appear there. Don't hit the follow button if you don't want to follow them. If you click on either their picture or the text of their username, it'll pull up their profile. So that'll definitely be super helpful. But yeah, that's the contact syncing method for TikTok. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. I've noticed like I'll have to sync contacts, go do something, and then come back. It's not like Snapchat where it's immediate, but it might be there. Another thing, if you go back to the For You page, and they mess around with where they put the search bar on TikTok pretty often. Right now it's in the top right corner. So if you click that and you want to go in and maybe you're searching for a certain event, or maybe you're searching for a person, that's where you're going to find it. One thing, when you click on the search bar, there's a bunch of different, maybe they'll show you trending topics. It'll show you what you last searched on. Even if you click on a comment on a TikTok and it opens up a different search, that's what'll pop up. So there's things with Duolingo I was clicking on because they're going through a whole campaign right now. It's funny. But one thing with searching on TikTok, their filters are different now. Like you can actually go ahead and filter. You used to be able to filter it by maybe videos that you've watched already, but they recently took that away. I'm not sure why. But date posted is pretty important. So yeah, I use the word hockey to search just because there's a lot of content on there. So if you search that, you can filter it to however you want. You can get different videos. It'll pull up videos by, users who are relevant to what you're searching for, or maybe what that video is about. Users, it'll actually pull up, sometimes the most popular accounts, whoever it thinks you want to follow. Maybe it's pulling in people because you follow these accounts, so it thinks that you want to follow them as well, these other accounts as well. You can also now search via places, just like on Instagram. You can search like different places and it'll pull that up, or hashtags. And one thing to note with hashtags, you can even put an emoji in the hashtag and it creates a whole separate hashtag. And I found that so interesting because, for example, with hockey in general, there's two different hockey emojis. There's the field hockey and ice hockey stick. And I've seen both of them pop up. And they're both their own separate hashtags with different videos posted. So just something to be mindful of for TikTok. People post a lot of things. It's not just dancing videos on TikTok. People post dash cam videos. This is not any of my stuff, but I just Found it really interesting there. Or people love to story tell. So if you come across a video that you want on the mobile device and you want to download it, it's pretty simple as long as they don't have it blocked. If they do, you can probably screen record. But if you hit that share button, the user won't be notified that you're hitting share, and you can just hit save video and it'll save to your device as an MP4. However, this is when desktop is pretty helpful because if you use this website here, Earlybird or URLybird, you can go ahead and take someone's TikTok and it'll bring up this really great platform. One thing to be mindful of with a lot of these social media websites, the first 3 posts might be pinned posts. They might not be the most recent posts on a platform. These platforms now allow you to go ahead and pin what you think are your top 3 or most relevant 3. So that reflects in these kind of tools here. But yeah, and I think it's really cool because this here, rather than scrolling through a TikTok of thumbnails, you'll get like, how many views it has, how long ago it's been posted, and it's really easy, and how many likes and comments it has. And they're really easy to download if you right-click on videos via this URL bird. It's pretty easy to download the MP4s. So with that, there's other TikTok alternatives. When TikTok went down for a few hours, people were trying to throw people to these other platforms like, oh, I've created an account here. It might just be kind of similar to Threads where people created a profile in a panic. But these are definitely 3 platforms you might want to search just in case someone may have created stuff, maybe created a profile and maybe created videos there as well, or whatever those platforms allow. So just a highlight to that. We're going to jump real quick to Instagram. And I wanted to share very similarly to TikTok, there's another link here that I found recently called Pixwalks. And if you take a username from Instagram and you drop it in there, you'll get very similar results. So first you'll get like their bio and all that. But you can also get anything that profile has posted or tagged, and you'll get all the details. It's a lot better than just going to like the Instagram platform itself. You also don't need an Instagram profile to have this. So this is really, really nice because you can go ahead and scroll through. If you don't have this, so I told you I was a Google person. I use Google Chrome a lot for my investigations. And there's an extension that I use called Go Full Page. And once you get and scroll down to what you're looking for on a desktop site, you scroll down all the way and you can hit Go Full Page and it'll capture it just like a PDF document. So this is really helpful. Once you download all the information that you want from TikTok or from Instagram and you hit Go Full Page, it preserves it all for you. So definitely really helpful. So yeah, this link is one that I recently found because there was another one I was using called like Pick Yucky or something. And it's kind of crazy how quickly all these tools and links kind of go in and out, but it's important just to know about them. And then I found this one through Reddit. It's kind of, know where to search, know where you're looking for things. I'm just highlighting a few important things that I want you guys to be mindful of when it comes to Instagram. 2 years ago, Instagram allowed you to do something called a collaborator post. And this is where one person will post something and they'll invite another profile to be a collaborator. And what this means is it'll also show up on that other person's profile. So here, the account on the left, they're the ones that originally posted, and they invited one of the pages that I help with to collab and share it on their profile as well. Now, you can't, once something is posted, you can't go back at this time and add someone as a collaborator afterwards. You have to do it at the time of posting. But this is interesting because, people are trying to get, rather than just post to my social media, let me post it to some of my friends, and you'll get more of an audience, you get more followers, more interaction. So it's just something you guys may have seen. I just kind of wanted to kind of explain it real quick. Another thing with Instagram, context clues are so important because when it comes to Instagram, sometimes you read through the comments and you can see here, there's a caption, and the poster of this picture here says congrats to these winners or whatever. And if you go and click on all the links in the caption, or all the usernames in the caption, one of them comes up as sorry, this page isn't available, meaning that that username is no longer there. However, if you go ahead and you search the comments, you can see like, oh, there's a post, or there's a Instagram account that's responding to the post saying thank you, but they're not mentioned. So, do a little bit of digging and you can see like, oh, that used to be that username, or it may have been that username, and they're changing. One thing to be mindful of with Instagram, if someone gets tagged in a post, like you see like the bottom left corner, and they get tagged that way as either a collaborator or as tagged generically, not in the caption. If someone updates their username, it'll update on there as well. However, if someone changes their username and they're tagged in a caption, much like this post here, the caption of the post will not change. So it's just something that's really, I find it really interesting, because you can find old usernames and it can give you something that's so much more to look at. There's also, when it comes to usernames, sometimes you can actually go on a profile and you can, this is through the mobile device, if you click on the top right, the three dots there, and you click on about this account, sometimes you'll get even more information as far as maybe getting former usernames. Sometimes you'll just get maybe how many usernames. Sometimes you won't get that at all. You'll just get maybe the date joined or like where the account is based out of. But this is, something that sometimes you can find on Instagram. So usernames are definitely fun. Side note, jumping back to Snapchat, because it's something I actually just discovered while I was doing this last week. If you go on Snapchat and you have the old username, and you go to that link that I gave you on desktop, and you do Snapchat, and you put their old username in, it'll still bring up the profile of the new username. I don't know how long that'll be active for, but I thought that was a really cool thing, and I meant to share that a few slides back. We're going to jump real quick to Facebook. I feel like people generally know Facebook and they use it pretty well. So same thing with how I was with Instagram. I just wanted to share a few important things. Same thing with Facebook. If someone gets tagged in the picture, in the actual picture, and they update their username, it will change. However, if they get tagged in the text, that will not change. So think about it. If your target is someone that has an alias now, or maybe they've changed their name, or honestly, maybe they've just had a less common name back in the past. Maybe they got married and now they don't. This is just a great way to search, because if you search, these things are still going to pop up. So the caption does not change. Another thing with Facebook, when it comes to videos, there's reels, there's lives, there's regular actual videos posted. Here I have an example of a reel versus a live. This trick, unfortunately, doesn't work at this moment, but it does. I feel like it kind of like cycles through whether it works or not. But if you take the www in the URL and change it to mbasic, it will sometimes take the video and change it to a mobile format on desktop, and you should be able to save link as. Unfortunately, it's not working right now, but there's other ways to download videos, whether you screen record or search online. But just there's things that are you always have to be adaptable in this field. That's something that's really just a lesson that you got to learn, especially when it comes to Facebook. And lastly, I just want to cover real quick a few things with, I still call it Twitter as well. I love Twitter. I've been on it for years. I've made a ton of friends through hockey Twitter. So one thing that I want to share is when Facebook goes down, I'll search in Twitter, is Facebook down? And you can go ahead, there's like actual posts and there's actual profiles created to see. So think about this, if there's like a relevant thing happening in life, or you just kind of want to see what people are talking about, because people go to Twitter and they'll just post their thoughts just unprompted. I do this sometimes if I watch Jeopardy and something funny happens. I'll search like Jeopardy, and people will post and people are on it. And Twitter's fun because people are using aliases for the most time. So that's just one little thing I wanted to share about Twitter. And another thing, like they have advanced searching as well. You can go ahead and filter it. Similarly to Google, if you put quotation marks around things or if you put minus signs, it follows like the Google dorking stuff sometimes, so you can find what you want. And one more thing when it comes to Twitter searching, if you have a profile and it's private, sometimes just take that profile and drop it in the search bar, and don't even put anything in it, just put the profile in. Anything that's tagged in publicly will pop up. So, it's a way to go ahead and see anything public that might appear when a profile is either private or not. Another thing too, if you come across someone's profile, so I oftentimes maybe I'm searching a subject and I found maybe their kids on Twitter. I'll go ahead and drop their kid's handle into Twitter, search the word mom or dad, and they'll be tweeting about their parents on Twitter, and it definitely helps for me with what I investigate. So just a little few things with Twitter, just kind of just add that to your investigator tool belt. So with that, that's my presentation. So I hope you guys all learned something and had fun. Any questions?